excited. I can't wait to see.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous. Kids want to come up here too? We're going to have children's church. Yeah. Still bear with me. I'm nervous. Let me see. I think I'm supposed to turn this on somehow. Is that on? It's on. All right. So we're going to tell a story today. Y'all ready for this story? You ready? You ready for this story? This is a story about David. I know y'all have heard about him before, but we're going to go into a little bit of detail on him today. So David was a teenage boy that had red hair and ruddy skin, and he was a shepherd. Y'all know what a shepherd is? A shepherd takes care of sheep. So he took care of his daddy's sheep. That was his main job. He fed them, and he made certain they had water. But another thing he did with these sheep is he made absolute certain they were protected from things that might want to hurt them. And so David, even though he was just a teenage boy, do y'all know any teenage boys? They're pretty young still, aren't they? Even though he was a teenage boy, one day a lion came, and the lion was going to get the sheep. And you know what David did? He grabbed it by the beard, and he hit it until he killed it. And it was dead. He did that with his hands. And then another time a bear came after a sheep. And he grabbed the bear and he killed the sheep. He killed the bear too. Now David did all this not because David was good. David was able to do all this because David's heart was a heart after God's own heart.
Amen.
That's the main thing. David knew in his heart that he loved God. And God said that David was one of the few that were after his own heart. So God was with David, and David was able to do all this. So one day David was out tending the sheep.
Is that a pillow?
Well,
Is that a bed?
well, now we're pretending like it's a sheep. Lots of this is pretend today. So he was out taking care of real sheep, even though these are pretend sheep. And his dad came and asked him if he would take some food down to the army. The Israelite army. Do you know who the Israelites were? Well, the Israelites were God's chosen people. And the Israelites were an army that were going to fight another group of people called the Philistines. So on one hill was the Israelite army. And on another hill was the Philistine army. And down in the valley was where they were supposed to be fighting. So David took the food to the Israelites thinking he was going to see some fighting. No one was fighting. The Philistines were over there. The Israelites were over here. But there was this huge giant called Goliath for the Philistines. He was 9 feet 9 inches tall. He was big. He was probably broader than this too, but I ran out of cardboard. So he was huge. And he was over here with the Philistines, and he said, if you Israelites will send one man to fight me, if you only, there won't be a battle between all of them. If you'll send one man to fight me, he said, if your Israelite kills me, then the Philistines will be the Israelite slaves. But if I kill your Israelite men, then the Israelites will have to be our slaves. Well, the Israelites were afraid. He's a big man. Nobody wanted to fight him. What's his name? His name's Goliath. Can y'all say Goliath? Nobody wanted to fight Goliath. That's right. Not even King Saul. And King Saul was a head taller than all the other people in Israel. So David saw this man and he went, who is this man? This man is defying the army of God. Well, he's just making fun of this army. We can't allow this. Why is nobody doing anything? And David's 3 brothers were there in the Israelite army. And they were saying, David, be quiet. You're just trying to show off. And David said, no, I'm not trying to show off. He said, I'll fight this man. If nobody else will, I'll fight him. So King Saul asked David to come to him and said, David, you're too small. You're too young. You can't fight this man. This man's a warrior. He's been trained. But David said, I can. What did David do? David had already killed a wolf, a lion, and he had killed a bear. He had already killed it. And you know how? Remember how he could kill him? Because God was in his heart, and he was a man after God's own heart. And he said, so I will go and find him. So Saul tried to protect David a little. Saul put all of his armor on David, but David was too small and the armor just fell off of him. So David said, don't worry about it. He said, God is on my side. God is with me, and I'm going to go fight him. So David took his sling. Now I'm going to show you this a little bit first. Now this is a sling. And they're still used in by today's people who take care of sheep. So you can put this on any finger you want, but I've practiced with a few, and I found it better if I put it on this pointer finger. And then you load up whatever your weapon is in here. So it might be a rock. I used a marshmallows when I was practicing. I put a marshmallow, and then you grab this right here very gently, and you get ready to sling it. Now there's different ways to sling it. So some people sling it like this. Some people sling it like a lasso. And then you just let go of that one side and it goes forward. Some people sling it like this. They almost do it like a catapult. So they put the rock in, they go just straight over and sling it like that. When I was practicing, I found it easier to make a figure eight when this was on. And they said to do it like this and just let it go at this point. And it's really a lot easier to do it that way. It's very accurate like that. So y'all think about those because y'all might be seeing this again. But anyway, so David goes, well, I'm going to go fight this giant. And all he had was a stick and his sling. And he went over here. Now, David was probably no bigger than I am. Do you think I could fight him? No. David was just a young'un. And he wasn't a trained warrior either. So David took his stick and he went by a river and he picked up 5 stones. He put 4 of his stones in his pouch and he put 1 in his sling. And he went to right in front of Goliath, and Goliath said, that's right, Goliath said, what are you? Do you think I'm a dog that you're coming at me with a stick? And then Goliath said to David, he said, today you're going to die. But you know what David said to Goliath? David said, you come at me with a sword and a spear and a shield, but I come at you with God on my side. And he put that, and David might have been afraid, but he sure didn't show it. He put his rock in there, and he charged at him. He didn't step back. He wasn't hesitant. He charged at Goliath, and he threw it. And you know where it hit him? Where do you think the rock hit him? Boom! Right here in the forehead. And you know what happened to Goliath when it hit him in the forehead?
Please don't say anything.
He went, and he fell over dead. And David and the Israelites won the battle, and the Philistines fled. And they were able to do this because God was on their side. Now, there's 2 morals to this story, and I want to make certain we get these morals right. One moral is nothing is impossible with God. Nothing is impossible with God. The second moral is there is nothing in your life that is so big that you and God can't fight it and handle it. You might have something you're afraid of. You might have something that makes you sad. You might even have a really bad habit to break that seems like it's impossible for you to break that habit. But there is nothing that you're going to come across in your life that is too big that you and God can't win. All right, well, thank you for listening. With this right here, you'll get your own little sling and 5 marshmallow stones. So you have to practice at home. Think of those marshmallows all over the
Are
place.
those real?
They're real marshmallows.
Maybe you got
I'm sorry, I did not see you. I would have had you up there, dear. I didn't see you over there.
try that.
You go, please.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. How's everybody this morning? Great. Great. Give God and Jamie another round of applause.